Hey there, welcome to this workshop, and today I'm going to be diving into the strategy that I use to bring clients in on demand at volume and in a very short space of time. And this is literally the strategy I use to close 10 agency clients in 3 days. And honestly, it has been 50 agency clients in 3 days. But before we continue, there is absolutely no pitch in what we're doing here. There's nothing to buy. You're not going to see anything. No offers, nothing. So if you're waiting for a pitch, it is not coming. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Niall. I'm the director over at Scale Certified and the Agency Lab license. Now, what you're about to learn today might go against what you've been taught for years. Honestly, years. This is 2026 now. Things have changed. Now, it might be different to what you normally see out there too, and what you've seen before. Now, the reason I use this strategy is because it's very, very efficient and it makes sales calls so much easier. Sales calls basically become an order taking process because the sale itself happens during the process automatically. If you have ever struggled with sales calls, if you've ever felt anxious, if you just don't really like sales calls, this is going to solve the problem. And if you think that sales calls take too long and you don't want to sit on sales calls all day, this is also going to solve your problem. But we've seen it all before. All the excuses in the book. I've got to think about it. I've been burned before. Do you have any references or case studies? Do you offer a guarantee? If you are an agency owner, if you have been on sales calls before, you have probably heard these excuses and reasons for someone not to close. It's always the same questions over and over and over again. It never changes. I've been burned before one. There's nothing you can do about that, right? You've probably heard it, but there's nothing you can do. But they all stem from the same problem. And that problem is trust. In the market today, you've probably heard it used to take 6 touch points before a client would buy something from you, right? You've probably heard that before. But now it actually takes 12, and that's statistically proven. It takes 12 touch points for someone to buy from you. Trust is everything. Clients know the process. They know the sales process now. They know when you offer a free strategy session that it's a sales call, right? They know that it's a sales call. So it doesn't work quite as well as it used to. Now, back when they didn't know the process and it was all built on hope of this, maybe this is the answer, it was much easier to sell. Anybody could sell back then, right? But now they do know the process. So many have experienced working with an agency before and they've had good and unfortunately bad experiences. This means that they don't buy on hope anymore. It doesn't mean they don't buy though. It means all the people out there that you see that are trying really, really hard to close these clients using high pressure tactics, they have to fall back on guarantees that they cannot guarantee. So they're promising things, they're guaranteeing things that they don't control, which is a very, very dangerous game to play. It's a fragile way to build a business. And you've probably seen it out there, right? Results or your money back. We pay you $1,000 if this doesn't work. You've seen all the offers out there. Now, on top of all of that, so many agency owners hate sales calls. They hate it. They find it difficult. They struggle to build trust. Now, this isn't something I learned in a course at some point. This is not something that I learned or nobody taught me this. This is actually something I decided to do over the last 3 years. And over that time, I refined it. It worked really well. And actually, it still works really well. To be honest, it's working better than ever because it's different, it's new, it's fresh, it's a little bit different. Now, this is something that clients respond to because it's what they want to see. You're giving clients and prospects and leads exactly what they want to see. The system that I'm about to show you works naturally by building trust and comfort to an extreme level, all automatically. This leverages your time, meaning you don't spend 600 minutes, and that's the magic number, right? 600 minutes building trust on a sales call. Imagine that. Imagine a 600-minute sales call. It would be terrible, right? That's 10 hours. That would be terrible. But this system builds 600 minutes of trust for you behind the scenes while you don't do anything to do with the sales call. You can do whatever you want. But why is this 600-minute number important? Well, first of all, a sales call is probably at most about 20 minutes of trust building. Now, it's 20 minutes of introductions and warming up, getting to know each other, and then there's 20 minutes in the middle there where they can actually build trust with you. So that they're not building trust during the introductions, they are building trust in that middle component, and then hopefully you spend about 15-20 minutes closing, right? So there's about 20 minutes of quality value time where you can actually help somebody. But imagine that we could spend 600 minutes building trust automatically rather than 20 minutes. Imagine 600 versus 20 minutes. Now, think about this for context to understand how valuable this actually is. I want you to think back to Harry Potter, right? The movie with the wizard. I'm using this example because most people will be familiar with some of the characters from Harry Potter. The film franchise is 8 movies long. So there's 8 different movies. And I want you to think of a character like Ron Weasley. So many people, while watching these films, feel like they know, like they can trust Ron Weasley. It's very familiar, right? He's a main central character. You see him all the time. He's everywhere. You build familiarity with them. He's clearly a core character. There's no getting around that. And you feel familiar watching him. But Ron only has 215 minutes of screen time across the entire film franchise combined. Yet, we feel like we know him. Now, believe it or not, Harry Potter himself only has 540 minutes. But he's the central character. You know him extremely well over 8 different films. 540 minutes overall. Now imagine you could build that level of familiarity and trust with a client automatically over the course of 3 days. Imagine you could do this with 20, 50, or even, like I do, 150 leads at once in a 3-day period. How much easier would it be to close a prospect if before the call they spent 600 minutes building trust before you spoke to them? How much easier would it be? It would be significantly easier, right? And this is exactly how we do it with a 3-day workshop, which can be automated. Now, here's the critical mistake that most people make. Most people think, oh, this is like a webinar. It's far from a webinar. Completely different, actually. A webinar is a one-time event where people spend 30 minutes building fake trust with rags to riches stories. We've all seen them, right? There's no true value in it. You watch a webinar, you're disappointed. I mean, how many times have you attended a webinar and you thought, this is just a sales pitch? I've wasted usually 2 hours of my time watching a sales pitch. Why did I do that? It promised me value. I never received that. I don't trust the person. Now, back 3, 4, 5, even 6 years ago, it worked well because people didn't know they weren't going to get true value, but now they do. So webinars don't work quite as well as they used to. And it doesn't really build much trust at all either. And then it combines fake trust with emotional selling. You've seen the emotional. Imagine what you could do with your family. You're letting your family down if you don't do this. That's emotional selling. It's high pressure emotional selling. And it doesn't feel very good. A webinar is a pitch fest. It combines this emotional selling with scarcity and urgency. And that really doesn't attract the best clients. It's a pure pitch fest. Now, a workshop, on the other hand, is pure value. It's a 3-day event, usually 60 minutes per day, where day 1 is pure value, no selling. That's the secret. That's the golden rule. Day 2, pure value, no selling. Day 3, extreme value, no selling, simply 5 minutes at the end where you provide the opportunity to fast track the outcome they now want after consuming day 1, day 2, day 3. It's the natural close. You see, in the workshop, you've already created the desire for your solution. You just haven't sold it. You've already built the demand for it. You've given them the strategy to do it themselves, which they can implement it. They get true value. They get pure value. They can actually take what they have learned on that workshop and do it themselves. On day 3, you simply position your service as you have everything you need to do this yourself, but if you just want it done for you, book a call on my calendar and we'll take care of it for you, and here's the price for me to do it. That's it. And you might think, well, why wouldn't they do it themselves? Because the reality is, they want to go faster. Everybody wants to go faster. They don't want to learn things. They don't want to spend the time learning things. They just want to understand it. They want to understand what it is they're doing, what it is they're getting, why they're getting it. How does it solve their problem? And that's exactly what the first 2 days of the workshop do. It positions that. It positions the problem. It positions the solution. And day 3 shows them what it actually takes to achieve that solution. So they really, really, really want it. It solves the problem. Then they see, oh, that looks like a lot of work and a lot of learning and a lot of expertise I have to have. I really do want it though. What do I do? And you magically appear with the solution to their problems to take it all away, give them what they want, do it for them for something they already want. That's the magic of a workshop. You're simply positioning the fast track. Now, before we continue, you might be thinking, oh, this is like a challenge, a 7-day challenge. Those challenges you see out there. That's not correct either. You see, there's a big issue with challenges. If the lead that comes onto a challenge or signs up for a challenge is busy during the challenge, you lose them. They're gone. If they get confused and they fall behind, or one day they can't make the challenge, they don't take action, right? So they don't actually take the action. Everybody thinks, well, if we can get them, or you're told, if we can get them to take action, they're more bought in. Yeah, true. But how many people out there can't take any action? So you're literally pushing against human nature. If they don't take action, they feel behind. If they feel behind, they go into a scarcity mindset and they never buy from a position of scarcity or fear, so they disqualify themselves and they never buy. So you are relying on them to take action. Your sales, your income, your revenue, your profit relies and depends on somebody else's ability to take action. This is not a good place to be. Whereas on a workshop, they simply spend 60 minutes per day with a coffee in their hand, learning, listening, and building trust. That's it. The friction is so much lower. They just consume. Think about TikTok. Think about Instagram, YouTube. How much do people consume? That's why these platforms are so big. They want to consume. They want to be entertained. So that's what we give them. Now, why does a workshop build trust? Because there's no pitch. When they get to the end of day 1, even though you have told them, and just like this one, I've told you there's no pitch on this, right? And you think, well, there must be a pitch. There's a pitch coming. It's just going to do something different. And at the end of this, you're going to see that there's no pitch and you're going to be surprised. It's the same thing with a workshop. Even though you say to them, there's no pitch in this workshop, it's pure value, they will not believe you. So they're going to sit through day 1 half thinking, where's the catch? What's the catch? Where does this change into a sales pitch? And then when it doesn't turn into a sales pitch and it's pure value, the barriers go down. They trust you because you stuck to your word. You gave them value. Then the same thing happens on day 2. You don't pitch. It creates this openness where Instead of having their guardrails up and not listening to what you're saying because they're waiting for the pitch, they don't want you to catch them out. So they're sitting half listening to you, waiting for that pitch. It never comes. Nobody else does that. Everybody else wants to pitch. Nobody else does that. So you stand out. You earn their attention. And that's the beauty of it. Now, a workshop is a 3-day event. Usually 60 minutes each day, where day 1, like I said, pure value, no selling. Day 2, pure value, no selling. Day 3, extreme value, no selling. Simply that 5 minutes at the end where you provide the opportunity to fast track the outcome they now want. But watch this. Something is happening behind the scenes. Something that you don't see, they don't see. You may not have noticed it yet. But each day of that workshop is 60 to 90 minutes long. So you think, okay, well, over the course of 3 days, that's roughly 180 to 250 minutes that they're spending with me. And that's correct. But you see, things are happening behind the scenes that you cannot see. Before day 1 arrives, your automations are sending out value content, building up the excitement for day 1. They consume the content, they're reading it, they're watching different little bits of videos, maybe they're on your YouTube channel, any content you post, whatever, they're looking at it. This time spent accumulates. Then they watch day 1. And after day 1, what they're doing is they're connecting what they have learned to their business. Because you didn't pitch them, right? They feel safe to do so. Because day 1 is all about opportunity. So that they're excited. They want to implement this. They're excited. They're imagining what it's like inside their business. The hope appears. They think about it, and then they start asking questions. And normally, I create an environment. I like to use WhatsApp actually, a WhatsApp environment, a community, because it's live action, right? They can ask questions and get answers. But again, the more time they spend reading or asking questions or thinking, or maybe reading the questions of other people in the workshop, it's time spent with you in their head. Then day 2 appears, but not the session yet. Day 2, they just wake up. And before anything happens, they receive an email from you. Day 2 is in the afternoon, the session. The email reminds them to refresh on day 1 before day 2 kicks off. So what do? They watch the recording, they skip through certain parts, they digest it, they recover parts that they weren't sure about. They spend more time with you. You're not spending any time. This is all automatic. So they watch the recording. And if you've ever had the response on a sales call of, I need to sleep on it, or maybe you book a call and a follow-up call for the next day and they disappear, or the prospect sleeps on it and then disappears, what happens is, on this sales call, they're at the peak level of excitement. They're super excited. They're maybe not quite ready to make that decision, but they're at the peak level of excitement. The next day, what happens is life gets in the way. They come down on the excitement curve. They come all the way down. And then they don't really remember what you said because it was a bit of a blur, a bit of a phase, a haze, and you're no longer with them. So their interpretation of things starts to change. You can't control that anymore. They start thinking of things the wrong way. All the creeping thoughts come into their brain and they ghost, they disappear. They're never going to come up because they know on that call you're expecting to close them. They're expected to sign up. Of course they don't sign up. Of course they don't show for the call. Of course they disappear because they're all the way down on the excitement curve and you're trying to get them to close on the second call. That's why they disappear. But this is human nature. We know this is going to happen. Their excitement has dwindled. So what do? With the workshop? We engineer for this. That's why instead of moving them on to the next phase, day 2, we refresh them. We reset their context with day 1, getting them to rewatch it. It's a refresh. Then day 2 arrives. They are prepped. They're ready. They spend day 2 with you. And then think about it afterwards. So they're now thinking. Day 1 was about the opportunity. Day 2 is the strategy, the solution to their problems. So they now connect it to their business. They're thinking, how do I put this into my business? Day 2 is the how-to. So they're taking the dream built on day 1, then figuring out mentally after day 2, how can this apply to my business? They're doing the selling for you. You haven't sold anything. You haven't made an offer. You haven't even mentioned you have a service yet. You've just given them opportunity, and this is how they do it. And they start connecting it to their business for you. All because you did not sell and you created this environment where they feel safe doing this. But again, what does that mean? More time spent. Then, of course, they go to sleep that night. The morning of day 3 arrives. You email them, reminding them to watch day 2 before day 3 starts. The refresh. They're in the WhatsApp or Facebook or school, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Any Discord, any community. They're reading the messages. They're chatting, they're asking questions, or they're just a fly on the wall, seeing what other people are asking because they thought the same thing. More time spent before day 3. Now, on day 3, they see the extent of what it takes to do what you're teaching them. So day 1 is the opportunity, day 2 is the how-to, and day 3 is if you want this opportunity and you want to put it into action into your business, here's the extent and the depth of what it takes. Step by step, this is how you do it. But they don't want to do that, right? You're giving it to them. You're telling them you're not holding anything back from them. You're giving them everything. Now that could be anything. Lead generation, sales, AI automation, AI employees, whatever it is. They want to do this. They're excited. It's applied to their business in their mind. But the difficulty of doing it puts a barrier in front of them. Then you solve that problem for them at the end of day 3, offering to do it all for them. Take all that pain away. Let me just take care of it for you. And now, some of them will book a call and it'll be like an order taking process and you'll be ready to go. But what if they don't book a call? What happens then? Well, we need a bit more trust, right? So on day 4, you send the automated emails to rewatch day 3. More time spent. They see the conversation happening in the chat. It builds more time spent. Then, what do? You transcribe the workshop. You can use AI to do this, pulling the best content and sending it out via email to them on day 5 to day 7. Every time they read, watch, chat, rewatch, digest, think, it's time spent with you, and this accumulates. So when they do book that call with you, they know how your system works. They know the details. They know who you are. They know what you do. They know you didn't sell them. They built trust. They even know how much it costs before they've ever spoken to you. And remember, you can automate this entire process. They've thought about it. They've built their own desire. They've matched it to their own business. So getting on that call with you, you don't need to do any of that. All the hard part of the sales process, it's already done. How much easier would a sales call be? And this is the beauty of a 3-day workshop. It can be live or it can be evergreen and pre-recorded. That's the magic. Now, one very important question here is, how do you get traffic to the workshop? Where do the viewers come from? I want 150 viewers on my workshop. How on earth do I do that? I have 2 preferred methods. The first method is really simple and it's completely automated. We use hyper-personalized cold emails. And that's a very, very important keyword, hyper-personalized. It's a little different to what you might have seen out there. There is a really simple method, this is a very simple method, and it has a very powerful twist that makes the difference. Most people send cold emails that are generic, and their version of personalization is, hey, John, I love your website. Terrible, right? We use a tool where we can upload thousands of leads with their name, email, and their website. Where do we get those names from? We get it from any source, any lead source, like Apollo, Lead Finder, D7, A1 Leads, any of these lead sources. We can use anything, it doesn't matter. All we have to do is get the lead source, download the leads, super cheap. We just upload the list to our system. We insert our service and the problem we solve. So when we upload the leads, we can upload thousands of them, and it asks us, okay, what's your service? What's the problem you solve? And we type that in there, and then we press a button. Now, what happens is the AI system then researches every single lead on that list individually. It analyzes their business and their specific problems based on what it can find. Then it creates hyper-personalization for each lead individually that pushes their individual pain points. So not generic pain points, the individual pain points. And then what it does is it positions our workshop as learning the solution. So it's almost like we're reading their mind, the mind of every single lead, because it's so personal to them. It picks apart their specific problems based on what it can find. It's so powerful, it's crazy. It also writes the entire email sequence for us. So we then take the hyper-personalized lead list, we take the email copy, it's created for us, we upload it to Go High Level, and it's an automation that sends the emails, and it sends extremely personalized mind reader emails to these business owners, and it just drips them 30 at a time, all the time. All of them completely custom, all of them hyper-personalized. Like imagine just uploading thousands of these leads and having it send traffic to your workshop all day long, and the traffic goes there because it's hyper-personalized. That's the beauty of it. That's the magic. And this is where they watch the workshop. Now, a quick example is if this system goes on to, if the AI system goes onto their website and it notices that they offer an introductory offer, so like a chiropractor offering $27 adjustments, what it will do, it will actually analyze the offer and it will predict the problems they have. Like someone comes in for introductory offer and then they never come in again. The chiropractor isn't making money from the $27, right? They rely on the retention of the patient, but that doesn't happen oftentimes because the introductory offer attracts the lower cost, lower value clients who will not come back. They're just bargain shopping, right? So we predict the problems, and it's like having a wound and rubbing salt in it to some extent. We know it's going to bother them. We know they're going to be having this problem, and it's like we're rubbing salt on that wound. Why? Because it gets their attention. Then we give them the solution, which is on the workshop. It's beautiful. Now, the second method is the paid ads method, and that's basically sending paid ads straight to the workshop itself, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, registration page where they can register for the 3-day event because we can then email them. We've got automatic reminders that nurture them, and then we can retarget them as well with the different days of the workshops. Watching day 2 and day 3 and so on. So we can do that. That's the paid ad strategy. But obviously, paid ads cost a fair bit. You've got to know your numbers. So basically, the easiest and best way to get started doing something like this is with the cold email. And the most effective way is simply because of the hyper-personalization. Imagine having email automations sending hyper-personalized emails that tap into the exact pain that individual business owner has and positioning the solution. This is the magic. Once you understand this, you understand the magic. Now, imagine the complete system sending to thousands of leads per week, driving to your 3-day workshop, all these leads where you've tapped into the pain because you've used AI, tapped into their pain, you've got their attention. They're going into your 3-day workshop. It's delivering automatically. You're not there live. You can do it live. I do like doing it live, but you can do it automatically, evergreen. Just taking them through the workshop. The automations are all kicking in. In your calendar, you just have warm calls booking in all the time. This can happen 24/7. This is the magic. This is the magic of the workshop strategy, and I encourage you to do it. This system enables sales calls that feel like order taking because the trust is already there. You don't need case studies because the trust is built. You don't need big guarantees because, again, the trust is built. You're standing out from everybody else. You get a higher quality clients with less objections because the objections have been tackled already in the workshop. Faster decisions, shorter sales cycles because they're basically getting on the call with you. They know the price. They know what it's all about. They know that you want it. It's like taking an order. And of course, this creates volume. You can close multiple clients very, very quickly. One workshop can close 10 clients. It has closed 50 for me. And that's the beauty of it on a short space of time. This means you can run them whenever you want to. You can have it running evergreen. You don't have to be focused on lead generation all the time. You don't have to battle with the cold leads. This is the magic. And I encourage you to look at this. Once you understand this, the world will open up. If you have any questions, let us know. You'll have our email. You can reply to that. Any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help you. This is the 3-day workshop strategy, and it works beautifully.